Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual. I hope that this video finds you all well. Um, I'm sitting here in South Florida. It's raining. It's been raining very strongly for the past 10 days. Um, we've been getting small breaks here and there, but this is that type of season in South Florida where we don't get the rain, but we don't get the snow, but we get this rain. And, of course, depending on where you live at, you can run into a lot of flooding and stuff like that. So all of that good stuff. I wanted to leave you all some good news. So um, this coming Friday night, um, I am currently working on a lesson, and it's going to be a series, and it's going to be titled the the most uh, authentic prophetic book in world history. The most authentic prophetic book in world history. I think that's what came to me. I made that title real quick. The most authentic prophetic book in world history. And let me tell you why. And what we're going to be covering in the lesson. We're going to be covering prophetic statements made by the prophets, or prophecy by the prophets. And we're going to be showing you in world history where it actually took place. We're going to concentrate on the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. We're going to concentrate on the visions of Daniel. We're going to link them. We're going to be talking about the 70 weeks of Daniel. This coming Friday, I'm going to show you the year that the Messiah was born in the Bible. I'm going to be able to show you the year that he was born and how you can determine that based upon world history. And I'm going to show you the year that he was crucified. And I'm going to show you that, taking the Bible and world history, and we're going to conduct a correlation. And I'm going to show you how authentic the Bible is, prophetic. It's the most authentic prophetic book in world history. And it's going to be great. So I'm going to show you this Friday night. I'm putting together the presentation. It's going to blow your mind. Monday night I had Bible study, but the weather was just so inclement that nobody showed up. And I kind of knew that nobody was going to show up. People started sending me text messages to say that they were not going to be able to come. It's raining, whatever the case is. And I was teaching for one of the elders who was taking just a short sabbatical, who will be returning. So if you're in Fort Lauderdale, Elder Blake is an excellent teacher. Come check him out. But I took the time to be at the congregation because when I study inside of the congregation, it's a different atmosphere. Home is home. The home office is good, but you're constantly doing things in between. You're distracted. You distract yourself, all of that. So, but when I'm down at the congregation, down at the class, it makes it different. So, shut the doors and turn on the computers there. And I started to study. What the presentation would be for Friday night. And I looked at an old subject that I had put together and it was dealing with the 70 weeks of Daniel. But inside of that lesson, I show, based upon scriptures, the year, the exact year that the Messiah was born. And I show you how we can figure that out based upon world history and certain events that occurred in the Bible. And one of the things that I did, when I came up with the year that he was born, of course, we know that he only lived until he was 33 and a half years old. And I said to myself, that means he died this particular year. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you now. I said, this has to be the year that he died, because he only lived until the age of 30. The scripture says 3 years. And we know that his ministry started at age 30. I'm going to be able to show that to you in the scriptures as well. And I'm going to show you why at age 30. There's a law pertaining to that. I'm going to bring all of this out Friday night. Why age 30? And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you in the scriptures where it says that when he was overshadowed and anointed, it was that he was 10, which is 30. And I'm going to show you why his ministry was only 3.5 years. Although the scriptures does not say when he was born. We don't have his birth date, but let me tell you, we do know when he died. And the scriptures probably, we know he never intended for us to recognize his birth. He wanted us to recognize his death. But nonetheless, there is a pretty strong, educated guess. Once I figured out what year he was born and what year he died, he was crucified, he was murdered, however you want to call it. We call it during the time of his passion. I know exactly what year it was. And I said to myself, it's got to be another way to prove that it was this particular year. So I went to just a Google search, and I found a calendar, or someone that did a calendar based upon NASA. I know people say what NASA means, but let's just say what NASA does. I'm not a supporter or anti or pro NASA or anything like that. But one thing we do know is that through the technology and through the equipment that they have, you can give them a particular date, and they can go back and calculate and adjust time, and they'll tell you what date that was in year whatever. I mean, going back into the BC time, they can show you that. It's a strong, calculated scientific guess, but it's very strong, and it's a very strong conclusion when they give you that information. So that being said, once I determined what year he was crucified, I needed some additional proof. Well, I found this site that confirmed that in the year that I'm going to show you, although it's 3 years different from what scholars speculate, it's 3 years different from what scholars speculate. And when they give you a date, they give you AD 31, and they speculate. They said this is the most probable time. And there's a reason why they do that. However, they're off by a few years. I'm not going to tell you whether it's in the front or in the back. However, when I did my calculation based upon scriptures and history, found the year that he was born, it was easy to determine 33 years later, and Passover just happened to fall in the middle of the week in that year. And let me tell you, I got up and I was like, OMG, I could not believe this. I figured it out. And so it was just awesome. It was just awesome. It's awesome. So I said, I'm going to include this in the series that we're doing, the most authentic prophetic book in world history, because the Bible and its authenticity can be proven based upon world historical facts that have taken place. So on Friday night, you are going to be in for a treat. You are going to be in for a real treat on Friday night. I'm going to be taking the scriptures. I'm going to be taking the 70 weeks of Daniel, which I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to get into the 70 weeks of Daniel yet, but I got to bring that in without going into a lot of depth about what the 70 weeks meant, but just to show you that how I got to the year that the Messiah was born. And then I'm going to show you certain things in certain historical books, history books, not Bible history books, just regular standard history books. Certain events that took place and show you the exact year and then show you and then say, bam, because of that. And I'm going to show it. I'm going to let you all read it. I'm going to put it out there to you. And you're going to say, oh, yeah, well, that's true. That's the year he was born right there. And I'm going to show you. And we're going to count out 33 years later. And I'm going to show you what year that is. And I'm going to be able to confirm that that's the year by showing you through calculated scientific methods how you can go back into time, put in a date, and bam, there it is. It fell. Passover fell in the middle of the week that particular year. And my mind was just like, oh my God, this is the Most High showing me this. And then if I wanted to go a step further, I was so excited on Monday night when I got home, 5 o'clock this morning, I was got up to use the bathroom, and my mind just the spirit of the Almighty wouldn't let me go back to sleep, and I was able to come up with a good, educated guess as to what month he was born. But I'm not going to concentrate on that, because even though it's a good educated guess, because I don't want us to get into trying to figure out when is his birth, do we celebrate it? I don't want to get into that, because the scriptures does not command us to do so. And we should not. We should only do what the scripture says. And he says, as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he comes. But I'm going to put it out there very quickly, just so you can know and why I came up with that educated guess. And that being said, it's a good educated guess. And you're going to say, wow, that has to be the month that he was born. Some of you all may have ideas as to when he was born and stuff like that. Sister Tia says, question, is the birth day the same as you and I discussed before? If I'm not mistaken, Sister Tia, I think at that time we both indicated that it was during a particular feast. And I think the one I came up with based upon just my own whatever I think I was wrong. I think you were right. Based upon me figuring out the year, I think the feast day, because I think I had, I don't think that we both were trying to, uh, I think we was just in dialogue about it, and we were just saying why it was on a particular feast day, or it would make sense. And you said, I think it's on this feast day. And I said, well, I think it might be on this one because, and you said, well, I think it might be on this one because, but I believe the one that I came up with now is the one that you had indicated. And that's a very, I have a very strong conclusion. And I'll share that on Friday night to say why. So I think I picked one feast day and you had picked another one, but I think the one you picked is why. Because the one that I came up with now is not the one that I had theorized. So, but I know it's the one because you had told me why you felt that way. And in fact, this morning, when I had determined the year, and for some reason I said, well, this, you can almost figure out his birthday. Because if it was 3.5 years, so I'm going to stop right there. I don't want to give y'all no hints for Friday night. But I said if it was 3.5, then 6 months later, so I did it that way. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to leave you in suspense. But yes, I believe when we had the discussion, it was the date that you had picked. It was the feast day that you had picked. Um, so yeah, this is gonna be phenomenal on Friday night. So what I'm doing now is putting together the lesson, sort of like the slides, so I can just roll it out real quick and show you. This is I'm as confident about this as I am when I showed you how to calculate Pentecost. And I can calculate Pentecost with my eyes closed. But I am as confident about this year that he was born and the date in which his passion took place as, and I am as solid with it based upon biblical information and world history confirmation. Uh, so intriguing that I have to present it. It's going to be the opener. It's going to be the opener. So what I'm going to do on Friday night, I'm going to present this on Friday night. The following Friday, there will not be any Bible study, but I want you to go back and look at this lesson so that you can get it. I want you to know it. I want everybody to understand it. And I'm going to show you how some people who consider themselves to be Jewish scholars, they have the wrong date. And they say AD 31. And I'm going to prove that it's not AD 31. Just like some of the Jewish scholars says that the Feast of Trumpets is the New Year. It's not. See, when you have the covenant agreement, you know. We're supposed to know. We're supposed to learn and know this. We know that the Feast of Passover is the first month of the year to us, to Israel. But, I'll leave it like that. Sister T, I did see that video. I was so, in fact, share it with the chat room, the link. I just shook my head on it. I watched it before I went to bed last night, and I will tell you, I made a comment in the room. Um, I'm still so upset about it. I'm not going to even talk about it right now because it'll draw me in to being here on another 15 minutes, and I can't because I'm getting ready to go right over there and pick up my daughter. Wonderful. Y'all be peace.